What you're looking at, gang, is a before and after picture of the technology called Cisco ClientLink. Pretty straightforward. I got a client device out here. We've got an access point out here. Before the client link, see how they're in the yellow zone here. They're getting lower supported data rates. Maybe not able to use the more sophisticated methods of managing signal. When we enable client link, which is an advanced form of beamforming, then we're able to get good, consistent data rates with much more consistent coverage across this heat map. Now, how do we do this? Well, it's based on beamforming. Now, beamforming, you remember, is associated with multipath detection, whereas we have an access point sending out signal. The client, starting with 802.11n, can send me information as an access point that tells me how much noise there was associated with that signal, what kind of data rate I could support. And then I could adjust the phase of that sending signal in order to manage it. So essentially, it was upstream only in the way that it was configured, right? That's the standards-based approach. Well, with ClientLink, we introduced a technology that is not based upon the client sending me information. Instead, ClientLink technology is going to give me beamforming, where I adjust the phase and amplitude of signal based upon the connection between the access point and that device and the various antennas that I have. But it's based upon the signal itself coming from the client, not necessarily based upon any beamforming information, but literally the raw signal itself is processed and interpreted. The MRC value is interpreted, and from that, I'm able to perform beamforming. I can do that with legacy, right? 802.11a, G, AGN combination networks, AC networks. So we see with ClientLink 3.0, the latest version, we now can support 3. With 2.0, you only support up to N, so keep that in mind. Always got to know where our AC limitations are. But with this option, again, very powerful to be able to deliver the signal. It doesn't require anything on the client because it's just sending out signal and it's being processed by the access point supporting ClientLink, which then, again, tunes this. And it does so in a very sophisticated way associated with being able to do beamforming using all of its antenna related to a particular client, where the traditional beamforming will pick an antenna and associate it with a particular client. This can optimize all of its transmit antenna to that particular client. So it's part of how it maintains that consistently across a lot of different, even across a device moving around inside of a network. So that high level AC support that's here in our latest devices, 17, 27, and 3700. Again, we now can support those 4 transmitters with the 3700 all the way up to AC networks, 128 devices. And you'll notice it's now configured in such a way where it's optimized for iPads, iPhones, Apple, Dell, Lenovo devices. So there's a lot. So multiple antenna or single antenna, legacy or the most modern AC protocols, a BYOD influx, whatever it is. You'll notice the whole idea here is that it has this support because it's not based upon client configuration. It's not based upon client messages being sent. It's just what it's gathering and then tuning to the devices. One of the things that you notice with this, and one of the ways that Cisco has kind of proven the quality of ClientLink 3.0 technology, is based upon 802.11ac 256 QAM. So you remember that the different forms of chipping and associated methods of controlling the signal, we can then compact more data into a smaller amount of space. 256 QAM is some very compacted information. That's how you get some of the highest data rates possible out of our Wave 1 802.11ac. Well, it's measured in terms of the supported data rates, right? You have data rates that are supported by access point and client based upon the connection of their signal. And so only when you get to M8 or M9 levels of data rate throughput can you support 256 QAM and really start moving data. And what we see with ClientLink 3.0 is you could move around inside of a network and maintain this over a gigabit of data throughput. Whereas if you have this feature turned off, you're moving down to M7 or lower most of the time. Even though theoretically it's possible, it's still 802.11ac. Without the ClientLink to do the beamforming to give you the solid, consistent signal, you'd lose out on the high speed capabilities. So awesome technology. One of the reasons, honestly, why I might upgrade to a latest access point and enable this feature for my clients.